since this is about magic, I'm going to do a magic trick that I've been practicing that Rebecca doesn't know about. But it's the first time I've done this live. So we'll see how this goes. Got a deck of magic cards here, right? All shiny. Okay. Now, I'm going to ask someone to pick a card, any card. Okay. Now, turn it around so they can see it. For those who can't see, it's a 10 of hearts. Well, I've got to hurry, We got shortage of time. I want to take the card, put it on the top of the stack, and I'm going to shuffle. Okay. Now I have to be the magician and the magician, so with any luck, there's your card. So I still got to keep my day job, right? Okay. Okay, well, now that was vulnerable. Okay, so Rebecca, again, I'm going to do some more introductions here. She is CEO of RHG Media Productions, founder and owner of RHG TV Network. And again, she's collaborated on over 15 international bestseller books. She's also the winner of the 2017 Link to Expert Collaboration Champion of the Year. So this award was awarded for helping achieve goals through collaboration. So with that, I would like to reintroduce or invite back Rebecca.
Thank you for the magic trick. Thanks, Dad. He's just full of surprises today. I like it. Beautiful. Well, I wanted to share a little bit of a journey I've had. As I was getting ready for our book coming out, The Empowering You, celebrating Step Forward and Shine and all of its success, and looking at the magic. How can we step into our brilliance, into our magic, and shine? And as we were looking at all of those things, and I was enjoying the quotes, I went on a mission. And I thought, I'm going to look up success. Don't we want success in what we do and what we bring forward and to achieve our goals? Right? But as I searched, and there were just pages and pages and pages of quotes online, somehow success was always tied to failure. Well, that was kind of a bummer. I would like success to just be this smooth path that we can shine and step into, and it always feels wonderful. And as I looked at expert quote after expert quote, I couldn't escape that they had said, on a journey to success, one must encounter failure. And it got me to thinking about this, that how many times we've let failure, a mistake, have too much power, rather than just a stopping place on the way to success. We're giving it too much weight. Because I believe, not to put anyone on the spot, no one needs to raise their hand if they don't want to, but I can think of lots of times I've been a quote-unquote failure. I've messed up. I have fallen down. I have fallen off course, or what I thought was off course. And got disheartened, reached the end of myself, and thought about giving up what I was so passionate about bringing forward. I don't know if anyone else has hit that point. And at that point, when I feel like I've given it everything I've got, and I can't go forward anymore, I'm done. And I had lots of great reasons to stop. If I ever needed to justify it, I could have pages and pages of great reasons to give up. to stop. And at those moments, I have conversations with God. I don't know if anyone else does that, but I do. I have conversations with God. And so one moment that came to my mind was when I was a financial advisor. I was a financial advisor for a number of years. And I was newly married in a little bit of a bubble. Got a little bit distracted, so my business wasn't expanding at that moment, but it was, strong, going well. And we get married, and 6 months in, my husband's in a motorcycle accident. He's drug 40 feet freeway speeds, 40 yards, yards, and survived, which I'm very grateful. He was so protected. But I still remember the moment I got the call from him. So I knew he was alive. He couldn't tell me where he was, wouldn't let me find him, which I didn't appreciate. And the pacing and the waiting and the worrying, and finally coming home. And he had been so protected. He'd worn his gear. He'd been drug that distance, scraped, scratched, things torn, but not a bone broken. And it was actually on the news that they were giving the update of this accident, and miraculously, the motorcyclist survived. So I'm very grateful. But there's a journey when that happens. So newly married, not sure about this whole we thing as much as I loved him. I didn't expect that to be as much of a transition. I was very good at me. I had a learning curve of we. And now I'm a caregiver, which I discovered was not my gift. Didn't cry out for help. I didn't even really tell my family, as close as I am to them, what was going on, because it made it too real. I was too scared to ask for help. And so I tried to keep pretending like nothing was going on. I kept pressing forward, but found with little sleep. One day I'm in front of the mirror with, cover-up makeup. It's not true. So as I'm piling layer on layer, trying to hide the stress, trying to hide the bags under my eyes, and I get really angry all of a sudden, and I threw it in the sink. I said, "You're not even doing your job." And I thought, ooh, where did that come from? Rebecca needs a timeout. And at that moment, I started to ask for help, and I started to realize I couldn't keep going the way I was going. I was burning myself up. I was trying to act like things weren't okay. I was dropping things I can normally hold. And finally, he recovered. He went back to work, but it was part-time. We'd gone through all his medical time, so there's some financial impacts here too that we're dealing with and we're struggling with. He goes back to work part-time, and I'm excited that I can get back into a rhythm I understand. Because every night he was awake moaning, he would be asleep, but he would cry out or whimper in his sleep from the pain. So it was really difficult to go through that journey. And as he finally went back and had to get to where he could work at his normal pace, we had some financial, practical things we had to deal with. So that was difficult and hard and scary. While he was healing, I didn't know if he'd fully recovered, newly married, trying to figure out all that. So I felt like I was finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Anyone feel that? You see the light. Okay, I can pick myself up by my bootstraps. I can do this. And so I had my day all planned. I had the week all planned. I was working with my clients. We were going to sign all these deals. Like, it was moving. We were back on track. It was a Saturday, a mile from my home. Suddenly, I was in a car accident. Pushed into another vehicle. 1 mile from home. My body was twisted when it happened. And I am in shock. You're kind of at shock at first. Everyone was okay, thankfully. So I told my husband where I was so he could come find me. And we had to deal with all of that. What happened with the healing journey is that I had to go to physical therapist. Well, guess how far the physical therapist was? 45 minutes away in good traffic. The pain from the accident, I could barely sit for 20 minutes at a time. So every time I got there, I was so flared up. It was a very slow recovery process. The commute into my office was 45 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on the day and the traffic. I moved like this because of the pain. And if any of you know the financial business, there's a lot of forms and documents, so I was dragging my bag, the rolly bag, with it, and had to get help. And I finally had this realization that I couldn't continue, and I was disheartened. I wanted to give up. I was frustrated. It wasn't worth it anymore. And I thought, well, and now I can't even get to an interview and sit in one and make a good representation of myself. And I had grown this practice with sweat, blood, and tears, and loved my clients and wanted to support them, but I could not physically do it anymore. I couldn't get there anymore, and I was losing hope and losing heart. So I was a little angry when I'd had enough. That's it, I can't keep going. So I decided God needed to hear about this. And I explained all of the reasons, like it wasn't fair. I was angry. I'd just gone through this. I was figuring out the we, and then my husband, and my ex, and I was just piling all this stuff, victim. And those are legitimate feelings, but sometimes we get stuck in that. And instead of him suddenly making me feel better and putting an arm around me and telling me it was going to be okay, you know what he said to me? Is that really all you have? Are you sure? And it wasn't said meanly. It wasn't said sarcastically. It was, are you sure that's it? And it switched that moment for me. And I thought, let me see. And I discovered I had a little bit more that I never knew was there. And I said, no, I'm not ready to give up. I have more to give. I am committed to helping people in this way. But show me how. I don't know what to do. I'm at the end of myself. I've got to learn to ask for help. And I said, okay, God, show me what to do. And so I was given the insight into my business. I had not followed a good business principle. I was trying to serve everybody. I had expanded and grown where I'd spread myself too thin, and I had to transform myself every new client or business I was working with. Exhausting. And so I decided, okay, I know from my days in HR, it's a lot easier to maintain a good client relationship than to find a new one. So I ruthlessly and with love and really being authentic and honest with myself, laid out all of my clients. And I looked at them and I thought, who am I best equipped to serve with the way I'm made, the way I'm designed? And I started to break it into categories A, B, C, D, E, and F. And I discovered it had nothing to do with asset size, which is kind of different in the financial industry. Because I had people that were just starting, restarting, that had companies that had multi-millions, I mean, just the whole range, that would fall in all categories. What I discovered is it was the people who wanted to move forward on a journey, particularly people who had wounds around money, who wanted to be empowered and grow in that area and wanted a holistic picture. Those are the ones I was best equipped to serve. And it was very humbling to figure out how many were in the C, D, and F columns, where they could have been served equally well by another, if not better. Because they wanted an order taker, or they wanted someone that would do this or a piece of it, where I am best equipped doing the comprehensive, like the strategy, how it all works. And the other part that's scaring this as a financial advisor, there's reoccurring income. So you give away business, you're giving away the income you can count on while we were struggling. But I knew I couldn't keep doing what I was doing, so I did it. Sometimes it takes those tight spaces to force us to take action. And so I did. I gave away, did not sell, I gave away over half my practice to advisors I knew who could serve them. Very few raised a red flag or were concerned, which was also humbling, and realized I probably should have done that a while ago. And yet they were served, if not better. But the people I could serve, I called them up and I started to have more authentic conversations. I let them know what was going on. I'd be doing some things remotely. And we formed a different kind of relationship. And they started referring people. And it grew and it grew. So I want you to know at that moment before I had made those decisions and while I was making them, I felt like a failure. I didn't know what to do. I was terrified as I was making those decisions. What I can tell you happened at the end of that year. That was mid-year. It was the strongest year I ever had. I got all of these awards for the work that I had done, and my business had grown exponentially. Because I found as I started to focus in on what and who I could serve best, they started understanding me more. I started understanding them better, and they referred people. I didn't do any marketing. The marketing was not something I could take on at that moment. And it grew, and it grew. And it also planted the seeds for something else. Because one of the things I had been doing as a financial advisor, I'd been doing these one-day events on Saturdays, where I was teaching people and empowering them about money. And they weren't coming. So I finally asked them about this. I said, I'm curious, not with judgment or harshness or being frustrated. I'm curious as to why that's not something you've been interested in. The answer was very clear, but I couldn't see it, and I heard it consistently. They said, Rebecca, we love you, we trust you, but we don't, frankly, want to spend a Saturday learning about that. I thought, oh, that kind of makes sense. So then I asked another really important question. What do you want? What would you like? What would serve? And they said, we'd love to have an event we could go to where we'd be empowered. We could be encouraged. They use different ways, but we could show up as we really are and get support on all levels in our lives and our business. We'd love to have a place that we could go to like that. And I started thinking, I'd like that too. And as I heard it again and again, and I looked at the events we were doing, I thought, you know what? I think I can create that. And that's the roots of the Women's Empowerment Series that you're in today. My first event with this shift, I had 6 people. Linda, you were one of them. 3 of them were speakers. We did the event. And I learned what to do and what not to do. I didn't let it stop me because I could see the vision and how much it was needed and how much I wanted to bring something like that forward. And so I did. And I kept trying. I kept tweaking. I kept learning. And then soon my empowerment hobby grew and grew. And I was called to step more and more into that arena. And then suddenly I had 2 thriving businesses, and I got to choose. And as much as I loved the financial arena, it used part of me. What I found is this empowerment world used all of me. And so with great love, I was able to sell the practice to someone who could take care of it beautifully and transitioned into the work that I get to do today. And I got to make that transition again, being really transparent before I could see how it would play out, before the numbers were exactly where I wanted to go. I kept wanting to ride both until I could see the numbers and the path clearly, that planner part of me. But I kept coming to that edge, and I knew I had to make that decision and take that step, take that leap. And I'm so glad I did. It's been an amazing journey. I didn't know there would be television, and there would be networks, and there would be books, and all these other things that were on the other side, because you don't know where it's going. We're partway through our story. We don't know where they're all going, but we've got choices all along the way. And every time we get to make decisions, and sometimes the best decisions we make are in those tight places. So if any of you are in a tight place, any of you are in a moment where you're struggling, or you feel like that I'm a failure, I don't know if I can go on, I want to encourage you to stop pause and tap into what pulls at your heart. And if you need help, receive it, ask for it. Let people come alongside you. It's not a solo journey. And I want to show you a chart that was really profound for me on my journey. And some of you have seen this before, but every time I know it's for someone in the room or it's for me. So I want to visit this chart again. Sometimes what happens when we set a goal, when we're stepping forward, we're wanting to take things to the next level. Anyone want to do that? Like take things to another level. We want to keep moving forward. Yeah. So we've got that motivation. We've got that goal. We've kind of got the vision. We know where we want it to go, and we start going along. And we're going along, and we can see on the edge, we can see that we're about to break through that next level. And we do that, and we step out in a way we haven't stepped out before. And it feels powerful and exciting leading up to it, and then suddenly, it feels a little vulnerable. I don't know how to be in this space. I haven't been here before. And so all those protective things kind of come in, and we can shrink back, contract, sabotage. We call it a lot of different things. And so then what happens usually is it kind of becomes this decline. Then we get to a point like, whoa, this is too far, too low. I've got to reverse this trend, and we do that. And we end up being on this roller coaster. Has anyone perhaps known of somebody that has struggled with that? What I have discovered is where we actually need support isn't where we think we need the support. We think we need it down here. But we're actually really good at getting out of that down there part. Where we need help is up here, when we're going where we haven't gone before. Because we don't know how to be in this space and stay there. And that's not bad, it's not wrong. We just haven't developed those skills yet. We haven't been there before, we're learning. And that's where it's a great place to get support. And the other thing, as much as we'd love it to be this smooth, powerful, beautiful, lovely journey, it is lovely, but it has ups and downs. But sometimes we don't recognize when we've moved to another level because it still does this. So a couple of things I want to encourage us as we're looking at it not being a solo journey, we're looking at bringing in support. Where do we need the support? Are we looking to go where are we aiming high? If we're aiming high, further than we've been, look for the support to come alongside you. You don't need to do it on your own. And this is in business, this is in life. And as you're going along in journey, it's great to do benchmarking. It's good every couple months or every month to just stop and take a snapshot and see where you're at, kind of look back, look ahead. And so often what I find is we have done and accomplished so much more than we realize because we don't celebrate it. We just move on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. And yes, if we are experiencing a little bit of a contraction, maybe stabilizing. I have a good friend of mine, Vicky Delajoyo. She talks about it as an arrow and how you pull back with an arrow to fine-tune the course, and then it can soar. And sometimes that's what a contraction is. So benchmarking, just kind of checking in on certain things you can measure, will help you keep moving forward. And here's the thing I learned in the financial world. One of the things people will say a lot in all worlds, but I heard it so much in the financial world because we're talking about money all the time. They're saying, I want more. I said, great, what's more? I need help. Great, what kind? We're not being specific about what we need, so it's very hard to direct a course to get there. So when you know you need more, great, analyze that, figure out what more is. And then how will you know you have enough? How will you know you've achieved, that you're moving in the right direction? Have some of these things that you can tap into. Does that make sense? Okay. So I have a fabulous chart. I want to just pull this all together with you and some quotes that really struck me in a deep way on the journey, and I hope they serve you too. Does that sound good? Okay. So you should have a beautiful yellow paper that has another amazing chart. Ta-da! What goes in the center? That's right, you. Okay. And we've talked about being visible. I talked about that a little bit this morning, how important that is, because if they cannot see us, if they cannot hear us, we cannot help them. So shining, sharing your gifts, visibility is about being easy to find. Easy so they know when that darkness comes around where you stand and you stand for them. So we want to be visible. We want to shine. And we need to really look at how we're viewing success and failure. And I want to give you just some of the quotes actually on my journey I didn't copy and paste. I just went on. One of them, and I wish I had kept it, was Michael Jordan, and he was talking about how many misses he made, how many key game shots he made before he ever got to success. Because it's a continuum. That's just on the journey. But here's some of the quotes I had. When everything seems to be going against you, remember the airplanes take off against the wind, not with it. Henry Ford. Here's one by Albert Einstein. In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. Thomas Edison. Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. It lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed. Who would like certainty and success? Okay. Here's what Thomas Edison says. The most certain way to succeed is always to try one more time. It's our choice. Do we get up again? There's so many I'm choosing as we go through our time together. So if you want to see a cheat sheet after, I have it. Or better yet, you'll see the complete collection in Empowering You, Transforming Lives being released on December 4th. So this is a preview of some of that. But part of, as I was going through this, realization about success and failure and how connected they are, and sometimes giving too much weight to failure instead of realizing, oh, I just fell down, let's get up. Oh, that didn't work. There's an extending of grace to yourself and grace to others. There's a choice that we make along the way. Are we going to keep going forward? Who are we choosing to be when things did not go according to plan A? How are we responding to that? And how are we responding when others make a mistake or failure? Do we keep holding it up in front of them? Do we keep doing that to ourselves? Are we able to release it as something we learned from when we got up? That doesn't work. This does. Or let's see. So choice is key. And there's like a full page. I'm just going to choose a couple highlights. But here's one from, let's do Oprah again. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. The ability to triumph begins with you always. We're the ones that are holding ourselves back. And you are such a gift. You're so precious. Nobody else is just like you. And I feel like we have a responsibility to get up again for others, to bring our message forward, to give what we're called to give, because it makes a difference. Here's one, and I know, Dad, you like this one. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. That's a guarantee to not succeed. and that's Wayne Gretzky. Life is 10% what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it, Charles Swindoll. And I love this one from Abraham Lincoln. I hadn't heard this before. Maybe some of you have. I'm a success today because I had a friend who believed in me, and I didn't have the heart to let him down. So are we willing to get up again? Are we willing to keep going forward? Are we going to build those, I've heard it referred to as bounce back muscles, Lisa Nichols. Are we going to build that and keep going? Because it's a choice. Walt Disney, our dreams come true if we have the courage to pursue them. And our friend Dory from Finding Nemo, when life gets you down, do you know what you got to do? Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. So I want you to hear that tape play in your head. When those moments happen, not if, when. That we're willing to choose to get up again. And so this ties into your why. Is it a friend you don't want to let down? Is it a dream you're called to bring forward? Is it a purpose you are destined to bring forward and lead? What is it? What is your why? Because that's where you're going to find your courage. And that's another reason having support is so key. So if we know failure is on the path to success and we're headed onto the path to success, therefore we know we're going to fail at times. So now that we know this, what are we going to put in our toolkit to support us through? What are practices that can help us stay motivated, empowered? Who are people that can remind us of our greatness when we forget? Who are those people we're not willing to let down? We just don't have the heart to let them down. And that will help us rise again. What is that support? And I want to encourage you to build it. Bring it into your life. Accept help. It makes all the difference. So what help do you need to go where you're wanting to go? Here's Zig Ziglar, and I like this. I hadn't heard this one either. But he talks about motivation, because sometimes we get that motivation and then feel like it fades. Has anyone ever had that, right? I'm a motivational speaker. I'm speaking truth here, though, right? We can lose that shine, that movement, that motivation going forward. Here's some insight as to why. People often say that motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does bathing. That's why we recommend it daily. Zig Ziglar. So what daily practices are we choosing to put into our life to help us, to support us? And then there were a lot of shares about this when I was looking at quotes. And they said it in different ways. Action. Work, having a plan, moving forward. We can keep wanting it, we can keep dreaming about it, but we've got to take some action. We've got to be willing to take steps. Vince Lombardi says, the only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. Are we willing to persevere? Steve Jobs talks a lot about that. I didn't bring his quote, but he was talking about perseverance, how key and important that is, and that's a differentiator. And author Ash broke it down simply, which I like because we can get in our way. We can make things complex and hard. And it says, start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. So look at where you are. Look at what you've got. and where you're going and take a step. And then you get to choose again to shine and keep going. This isn't a one-time journey. It's an ongoing process. And I want you to notice these little dashes, these choices that we're making create the movement, create the shine, create the ability to keep moving forward. So make the decision to share. Recognize failure's just on the way. It's just on the way. Remember your why. Let it give you courage. Let support in. And then take the steps. Do the work. I don't have a magic wand for that. We've got to be willing to take the steps. William James says, act as what you do makes a difference. It does. So be willing to take the steps. So what I would like to have you do here is take a moment and close your eyes. Just pause. Feel in. And it's a question. Are you willing? Are you willing to step forward, to move towards your success, to move forward what matters most to you, recognizing and knowing failure's on the way? And we can release its power to hold us back and let us move us forward. Are you willing to let that support in? Are you willing to step forward? Are you willing? I just want you to feel into what the answer is for you. And if it's a yes, eyes closed, so you have to do this carefully, I want to encourage you to stand, representing you taking a stand, saying yes, and letting the floor represent that support for you. So if you're willing, eyes closed, this is you and me. I'm acknowledging this. I want you to know I see you, and I celebrate your willingness. To take that stand, to bring forward what matters to you. Beautiful. In just a moment, I'm going to give you an opportunity to stay standing, because we'll open our eyes in a moment. But those of you who this is enough of a stand, you wanted to feel it, stand in it, have me see it, know I'm supporting you, and that's enough visibility for you right now, I honor that. And you can sit down before I have everyone open their eyes. If you want today to be an opportunity for all of us to celebrate and support you, then stay standing when I have you open your eyes. Okay. So on the count of 3, those of you who are ready to be seen, to be celebrated and supported by all of us here as a community, when I get to 3, you can stay standing and open your eyes. But sit down before that if you're not ready to be seen on that level. Okay? So 1, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4, 2 and whatever's after 3/4, 3. Okay, go ahead and open up your eyes and let us celebrate. Turn around, acknowledge each other, sending love and support. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you all. Go ahead and have a quick seat. Now, I have some opportunities that I'm actually going to share with you a little bit later, so it's a bit of a teaser. Because I want this moment to be something that sits with you for a little bit. And just so you have a little precursor preview of what I am going to be sharing about, it's an opportunity to increase visibility in a supported way, taking a step where you're doing it in community and collaboration. You're not having to do it all on your own. So I'll be sharing about those a little bit later, so you can be listening for that. But now what I'd love for you to do in this support and in this connection, I would love for you to stand one more time. Let's celebrate each other one more time. Beautiful. Great. Great. So as we celebrate taking the stands, I would love for you in this energy, in this motion, because we're making magic here. We're building that within as we make those choices. I would love for you to choose to bring that forward into lunch. So ready? 1, 2, 3. We're bringing the magic. Enjoy lunch, everybody.
Are you a speaker looking to reach more people with your message? You have a global vision that you want to touch the world and make a global difference. If so, I have an amazing opportunity for you. It's called the Speaker Talent Search. Again, that's the speakertalentsearch.com. You'll find all the details, but here are the highlights. With one application process, you get clarity on your message. You get to fine-tune how you want to reach the world. Then you'll have everything ready in one place for the opportunities when they come. Second, we select you as a finalist. You get to come in and audition with a 7-minute audition, open up the door to hundreds of speaking opportunities. I hope you lean in. I hope you say yes. We would love to hear your message. Help you touch the world powerfully. Again, that's the speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your powerful message.